history is any indication, this fiscal stimulus, infinite has often been the word used, will lead to inflation, and inflation tends to be a good backdrop for the gold environment.
Hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. Fascinating times, as always, in the gold markets, as gold in the 1750-ish range, not really that far anymore from its all-time highs. So fortunately, today I'm joined by Jason Simpson of Orla Mining, who's got a lot of experience, not just following and tracking gold and watching the ticker like the rest of us from time to time, but also on the mining side as well. So a great body of experience. And with that said, Jason, appreciate you joining me here today. How's everything going with you?
Good, Chris. Thanks for having me. And just say hello to your audience. My experience in gold goes over the past decade. I'm a mining engineer that moved into the gold space in 2013, and from 2013 up until more recently, it was a challenging environment. But more recently, and certainly, with what's going on in the world today, I think investors will be looking for a greater exposure to gold in their portfolio at times like this. When they seek greater alpha, they'll first enter physical gold, then go into the gold major equities, and then probably come down market to companies like Orla, where they can gain greater alpha. So they're looking for stories like we have at Orla Mining, when they want exposure in their portfolio to gold, and I look forward to talking to you about what we can offer them.
Yeah, and it makes sense, Jason, like you said, that people are moving towards gold. Just today alone, I think the headlines I saw were that the Federal Reserve and government small business funding already exhausted. Japan is now giving out yen as their own stimulus package. And before we hit the record button, you were mentioning what happens when all of these paper currencies are all being printed endlessly at the same time, and where do people, what is left standing?
Yeah, I confessed to you before we turned on the mic that I'm not an economist, but if my high school economics and history is any indication, this fiscal stimulus, infinite has often been the word used, will lead to inflation, and inflation tends to be a good backdrop for the gold environment. Obviously, we all have to live in the world, so we need a good balance of a healthy gold price in my business, but also a healthy world for all of us. And the last gold company that I worked for, and this one, has a philosophy of building and operating gold mines that deliver returns at all price cycles. It just so happens, it seems that we're about to enter one that is going to be particularly beneficial for those that have exposure to gold equities.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And Jason, you mentioned it was 2013 when you shifted into the gold space. Curious, I know you've talked about it a little bit to this point, but what specifically was the final push to move into that sector and leading up to where you are now?
Certainly, I started the business in base metals, and in the mid '90s, graduated as a mining engineer, and then grew up through the ranks as an operator and engineer, learning the business from the base metals side. In 2013, I was recruited by the former president of Inco, a big nickel company in Canada, to join him as he had transitioned over to the gold world for a company called Torex Gold Resources. And my job for him and our shareholders was to build a $800 million mine in Mexico, which at the end of last year produced 450,000 ounces of gold. So a very large gold mine in Mexico. That 6-year journey that we took together introduced me to a number of important people in the gold business, the likes of Pierre Lassonde, Chuck Jeunesse, George Albino, and a variety of others that recruited me over to Orla Mining. Their strategy was to repeat what I had done at Torex, build a mine in Mexico, but on a grander scale, build a gold mining company, and that's what we started out doing at Orla, and I'll be happy to update you on how it's been going.
Yeah, it's certainly, as you mentioned, when we met in PDAC, you have quite a background and a lot of experience, which I think, especially in the mining business, really helps out quite a bit. So, um, as you said, with Orla, perhaps you could give us an update on some of the projects that you have going on, and also for people who are into gold and silver looking for investments where they get leverage on the move, just if you can talk about the risk profile a little bit and what people are looking at there.
Sure. So, let's start with a bit of context. I think when people decide that they want to enter into the gold space, they perhaps may enter at the safer or larger mining companies, but we'll often find that they don't have as much beta as somebody further downstream. So if they're looking for more return on their investment, they often move downstream in the gold equities. As you know, the number of companies expands as you move down market, and so they're looking for stories like Orla's that have that magic recipe of combination of good assets and a good management team who knows what to do with them. So at Orla, we have a number of things going for us. First is that we have near-term cash generation at a high margin mine in Mexico. We have multinational exposure, so we have diversification because we have assets in Mexico and Panama. And all of that is a basket of resources, gold resources of over 10 million ounces. So when people are looking for companies that have good assets, they're looking for geographic diversification, they're looking for size, 10 million ounces, and they're looking for the ability to produce cash. And Orla can deliver all of those. But that has to be placed into the hands of a team that knows what to do with it. And as exemplified with what we did at Torex, we can build mines as supported by board of directors, Chuck Jeunesse, the former CEO of Goldcorp. Our newest COO came from Alamos and built mines for Arico as well as Alamos. We're a team that knows how to build and operate mines. So we have a good endowment of resources. We have good team that knows what to do with it, and finally we have a group of shareholders that span companies like Newmont and Agnico Eagle, institutions like Fidelity, Franklin, ASA, and individuals like Pierre Lassonde that give us the market credibility and frankly the financial resources to do what we need to do.
Yeah, and being able to reach the market, obviously a big part of these things. I'm curious, obviously life has changed quite a bit in the last month or two since we saw each other in person. What have you seen in terms of the investor appetite and the financing market in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think we just recently made a bit of a name for ourselves, having raised $75 million on the equity market amidst this difficult period in the world. We needed to do that because last year we raised $125 million US in debt, and we needed to combine that with an equity top up to give us sufficient cash to build our first mine in Camino Rojo, that's Camino Rojo in Mexico. So a few weeks ago, we did exactly that. We went to the equity markets and raised $75 million in a time when I can assure you we are all concerned and sometimes are challenged to spend cash. But we were able to raise that money, and I think that's a testament to the management team, the assets we have, and of course the shareholder base that supports us. The equity was supported by Newmont, who participated pro rata, by Agnico Eagle, who participated pro rata, and also Pierre Lassonde's participation. So with those three continuing to support a name that they believe in, Orla Mining, we were able to draw the rest of the investment that we needed to raise that $75 million. So now Orla Mining has an important feature. It is a development story, but has no liquidity concerns. We are sufficiently funded, we have the right management team, and we have the right assets. And so now we can begin to unlock the value of our assets, and obviously that'll create an opportunity for investors.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. Just once you have things in place and can focus on what it is you're really doing, and looks like the timing is lining up nicely because certainly, well, I think it's unfortunate that the Fed has resorted to unlimited quantitative easing again. Like you mentioned, good outlook for the gold environment, and for perhaps for folks who would like to get some more information, find out how to follow up, get more details about the projects. If you can just let them know how to track you down.
Yeah, certainly. So, as everybody does, go to the web and find us at orlamining.com, all one word. And on that site, you'll find everything you need, including updated corporate presentations. And just yesterday, in light of the fact that I can't get out and visit many investors, we updated the corporate presentation to include a voiceover. So you'll hear me describing slide by slide our views of the company and what we intend to do to bring value to shareholders.
Well, we'll look forward to putting that link below so folks can check that out, get in touch with you. Sounds like a great overall project you've assembled, having good partners, having the financing in place, and also just that it's come together at this particular time is nice to see the way some of these long journeys work out. So happy for you and your success. We'll look forward to following as it goes along, and thanks for checking in today, Jason.
Thanks for the opportunity, Chris, and I hope everybody stays healthy.
Well, appreciate that. We'll talk to you soon.
Cheers.